It is often to make the message feel powerful and unquestionable, but real guidance never creates panic or pressure. It does not force you to act immediately or make you feel like something terrible will happen if you don't respond. Instead, it allows you to think clearly and calmly, and that is exactly what you need to do right now. Ask yourself one simple thing: what real evidence do you have that something unavoidable is about to happen? Not what the message is claiming, but what you can actually see, verify, or confirm in your real life. And if there is nothing, then the message has no real connection to your reality. It is only trying to create a sense of fear so that you react without thinking, and this is a very common pattern. Strong words, urgency, and emotional pressure all combine to make you feel like you must act immediately. Your mind may start imagining possibilities, because when something sounds serious or unavoidable, the brain naturally tries to prepare for it, but not every thought that comes from fear is true, and this is where your awareness becomes important, because instead of following those thoughts, you can step back and observe them. You can question whether they are based on anything real, and when you realize they are not, they begin to lose their intensity, and your mind becomes calm again. The idea of a heavenly alert may sound powerful, but true meaning or guidance never comes in a confusing or threatening form. It never says, "If you ignore this, something cannot be stopped," because that kind of pressure removes your ability to think, and anything that tries to remove your thinking is not something you should trust. And once you understand this clearly, you automatically regain control over your response. Because you are no longer reacting to fear, you are responding with logic. Now bring your focus back to your surroundings. Notice that everything is normal, nothing unusual is happening, and there is no real sign of any immediate danger. And this is the most important truth, because reality is always clear and observable. It does not depend on vague or urgent messages, and when you stay connected to that reality, your thoughts become stable, because you are not chasing something uncertain. You are grounded in what actually exists. In the end, remember this clearly: not everything that sounds serious is real, not everything that feels urgent is true, and not everything that tries to scare you deserves your attention. And when you choose to pause, observe, and think logically, you protect your peace and your clarity, and that is your real strength, because it keeps you calm, aware, and in control, no matter what kind of message appears in front of you. If you are still here, then this is where your understanding becomes stronger and more grounded, because now you are not just reading the message, you are seeing how it tried to affect your mind, and that awareness is important, because when a message says something cannot be stopped, it is directly targeting your sense of control. It tries to make you feel helpless so that you react quickly without thinking. And when it adds a phrase like heavenly alert, along with a name like Archangel Micheal, it tries to make the message feel unquestionable, as if it must be true. But real truth never removes your ability to think. It allows you to stay calm and understand clearly. Now pause and observe your thoughts, because your mind may still be trying to imagine what that unstoppable thing could be. It may be creating scenarios, possibilities, or even fear of something unknown, but it is very important to understand that these thoughts are not coming from reality. They are being created in response to the message, and once you recognize that, you stop treating them as truth, and instead you see them as temporary reactions, and that shift is what brings your mind back to stability. Ask yourself again, has anything actually changed in your real environment? Is there any clear sign, any confirmed situation, anything you can verify that supports the idea of an unstoppable event? If the answer is no, then the message has no real foundation. It is only using strong language to influence your emotions, and when you understand this, the fear begins to fade, because you are no longer reacting to the words, you are observing them logically. Messages like this follow a pattern. They create fear by saying something serious will happen, they remove control by saying it cannot be stopped, and they add urgency so you act immediately. But once you break that pattern by pausing and thinking, the entire effect disappears, because the message depends on your reaction to feel real, and without that reaction, it loses its power completely. Now bring your focus back to what is real and present. Your surroundings are normal, your life is continuing as usual, and there is no sudden or hidden event taking place, and this is the most important truth, because reality does not operate in vague warnings or unclear threats, it operates in clear, visible, and verifiable situations, and when you stay connected to that, your mind remains calm and in control. At this stage, you are not being influenced anymore, because you understand how the message works and why it tried to affect you, and that understanding is what protects you, because once you know the pattern, you do not fall into it again, and instead of reacting, you pause, observe, and think, and that is what keeps you stable, aware, and in complete control of your thoughts and your response. If you are still here, then this is the stage where your awareness becomes completely sharp, because now you are not just understanding the message, you are fully seeing through it, and that clarity is important, because earlier the words, "cannot be stopped," may have created a sense of fear or loss of control, but now you can clearly recognize that those words had no real connection to your life. They were only meant to create pressure inside your mind, and once you stopped reacting to that pressure, it disappeared, because it had no real foundation to stand on. At this point, you can also observe how your thoughts tried to respond. Your mind may have started imagining unknown situations, trying to prepare for something undefined, but now you understand that those thoughts were not based on reality, they were triggered by the message itself, and once you see that clearly, you stop treating them as something important, and instead you let them pass, and that is a very important shift, because it shows that you are no longer being controlled by fear, you are guiding your own thinking with awareness. The use of names like Archangel Micheal and phrases like, "heavenly alert," may have made the message feel powerful at first, but now you understand that real meaning never comes with confusion or pressure. It never says something is unavoidable if you don't act immediately. Instead, it allows you to stay calm and understand things step by step, and that is exactly what you have done. You slowed down, you observe, reached clarity. And that clarity is what removed the effect of the message completely. Now bring your focus fully back to your present moment, where everything is stable, nothing unusual is happening, and your life is continuing normally, and this is the most important truth, because it confirms that the message was only trying to create a temporary reaction in your mind, not reflect a real situation, and once you see that clearly, there is nothing left to analyze or worry about, because reality has not changed at all. At this stage, you are fully in control, because you are not reacting to the message, you are understanding it, and that understanding gives you confidence, because you know that your thoughts are not being influenced by random or urgent words anymore, you are thinking for yourself, and that is real strength, because it keeps you stable in any situation where something tries to disturb your peace. In the end, this becomes a simple truth for you, that not everything that sounds serious is real, not everything that feels urgent is true, and not everything that tries to create fear deserves your attention, and once you carry this understanding forward, you naturally remain calm, aware, and in control, because you know how to pause, observe, and think clearly before reacting. And that ability is what truly protects your peace and your clarity. If you are still here, then this is the stage where everything becomes completely steady and clear inside your mind, because now there is no fear, no confusion, and no sense of urgency left, only understanding. And that understanding shows you that the message never had any real connection to your life. It only used strong and dramatic words like, cannot be stopped, and heavenly alert, to create a reaction. And once you chose not to react and instead think logically, that entire effect disappeared, because nothing in your real surroundings ever supported what was being said. Now you can also clearly see how your mind handled the situation. At first it may have tried to imagine possibilities, to prepare for something unknown, or to make sense of the message, but as you continued to stay calm and think, those thoughts started losing their strength, because they were not based on anything real, and this is a very important realization, because it shows you that not every thought needs your attention, especially when it is triggered by fear or pressure, and once you understand this, you naturally stop getting pulled into unnecessary overthinking. The use of names like Archangel Micheal may have made the message feel more powerful or serious at first, but now you clearly understand that true meaning never comes with pressure or fear, it never forces you to act immediately or tells you that something unavoidable will happen if you don't respond. Instead, it allows you to stay calm, to think clearly, and to understand things at your own pace, and that is exactly what you have done. You stayed, you thought, and you reached clarity, and that clarity is what protects you. Now bring your focus fully back to reality, where everything is normal, where no sudden or hidden event is taking place, and where your life is still under your control. Because your reality is always based on what you can see, verify, and experience directly, not on what is suggested through unclear or urgent messages, and when you stay connected to that reality, your mind remains stable and confident. At this point, You are fully in control of your thoughts and your response, because you are no longer reacting to fear, you are responding with awareness, and that awareness is what keeps you steady in any situation, because it allows you to recognize what is real and what is not, and once you have that ability, you naturally stop giving importance to such messages. In the end, this becomes a clear and simple understanding for you, that not everything that sounds urgent is real, not everything that feels powerful is true, and not everything that tries to scare you deserves your attention, and once you carry this understanding forward, you remain calm, aware, and in control, no matter what kind of message appears in front of you, because you know how to pause, observe, and think clearly before reacting, and that is your real strength. If you are still here, then this is the stage where your understanding becomes completely firm and unshakable, because now there is no space left for fear or doubt, only clarity, and that clarity shows you that the message never had any real connection to your life. It only used powerful words like, cannot be stopped, and heavenly alert, to create pressure inside your mind. And once you refused to react to that pressure and chose to think calmly, the entire effect disappeared, because without your reaction, such messages have no strength at all. At this point, you also understand something deeper about how influence works, that anything which tries to rush you, scare you, or remove your ability to think is not something you should trust, because real situations, real information, and real guidance always allow space for understanding. They do not force immediate action, and once you recognize this difference, you automatically protect yourself, because you stop reacting to urgency and start responding with awareness. And that awareness is what keeps your thinking stable and clear. Now when you look back at the message, you can clearly see its structure. It created fear by saying something unavoidable will happen. It removed your sense of control by saying it cannot be stopped, and it added urgency so you would act without thinking. But once you slowed down and analyzed it, that entire pattern broke, because it depends completely on your reaction, and without that reaction, it loses all its impact. And this realization gives you confidence, because you know that you are not easily influenced anymore. Bring your focus back again to your real life, where everything is normal, where nothing sudden or hidden is happening, and where your actions are still completely in your control. And this is the most important truth, because reality does not change based on dramatic or urgent words. It changes based on real events that you can actually see and verify. And when you stay connected to that reality, your mind remains calm and grounded. At this stage, you are no longer affected at all, because you are not just ignoring the message, you are fully understanding why it had no value, and that understanding is what protects you in the long term, because once you know how something works, it cannot easily disturb you again, and this is what you have gained here. Not just relief from one message, but a level of awareness that stays with you. In the end, this becomes a simple truth for you, that not everything that sounds powerful is real, not everything that feels urgent is true, and not everything that tries to create fear deserves your attention, and once you carry this understanding forward, you naturally aware, and in control in every similar situation, because you know how to pause, observe, and think clearly before reacting, and that is your real strength. You are still here, then this is the final stage where everything becomes completely calm, clear, and settled within you, because now there is no fear, no confusion, and no emotional reaction left toward that message, only a deep understanding that it had no real connection to your life, and that nothing in your reality was ever affected by it. It only tried to create an illusion of urgency and fear inside your mind. And once you stopped feeding that illusion with your attention, it disappeared completely, and this is the most important realization, that your reaction is what gives power to such messages, and when you choose not to react, they lose all their influence. At this point, you can clearly see how your thinking evolved, from an initial moment of attention or curiosity to a place of complete clarity, and that process itself is your strength, because it shows that you did not allow your emotions to control you. Instead, you used awareness and logic to guide yourself back to reality, and that is what keeps you stable. Because when you rely on what is real, you do not get lost in assumptions or imagined scenarios, you stay grounded in facts and present reality. Now your mind is completely steady, because it is no longer trying to predict or imagine something that was never real to begin with, and this stability allows you to focus on what truly matters. Your real life, your real decisions, and your real priorities, and when your attention is focused on what is real, your confidence naturally grows, because you are not influenced by outside noise or sudden messages. You are guided by your own understanding. The use of names like Archangel Micheal in such messages may have made them feel powerful at first, but now you understand clearly that true meaning never comes with fear or pressure. It never tells you that something unavoidable will happen if you don't act immediately. Instead, it allows you to stay calm, to think clearly, and to understand things at your own pace. And that is exactly what you chose. And that choice is what protected your peace and your clarity. At this stage, you are fully in control of your thoughts, your reactions, and your decisions, because you are no longer reacting to emotional triggers, you are responding with awareness, and that awareness becomes your strength, because it keeps you calm in situations designed to disturb you, and once you have this control, nothing can easily shake your thinking. And now you reach the final truth, that your peace, your clarity, and your control always come from within you, not from outside messages, and once you understand this completely, you naturally remain calm, aware, and stable in every situation, because you are no longer reacting blindly, you are observing, thinking, and responding with clarity, and that awareness is what keeps you safe, focused, and in complete control of your mind and your reality.